Badass Attitudes, licensed here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The bus to Badassville is scheduled to come here for you. Pack your stuff. BADASS is an acronym, and each Wednesday, Kelly shares tips, tools, and information about how you can become licensed to be badass too. Turn up your energy with Wednesday Wisdom. Here again is Kelly Orchard. Hey, badass. How you doing?
Well, I don't know, Mr. Ocean. I guess I'm doing pretty badass. How are you doing, badass? And also, all of you out there, how are you doing? Kelly Orchard here with you on this Wednesday Wisdom, August the 4th. Oh my gosh, can you believe we're already in August? I am having a bitchin' summer. The other day I posted on social media, really hilarious. I stole it from somebody else. I don't claim this, but it was basically, it's like, to all those kids who signed my 7th grade yearbook, I did, in fact, stay cool. And then I'm also having a bitchin' summer. So how are you doing on this Wednesday Wisdom? We're back to starting all over. You know, it's a new month and it's a new topic. And we're also actually starting at the top of the charts with the BADASS acronym. The B in BADASS stands for be bold, be brave, be confident, and be yourself. So we're starting from the top. Be yourself is the topic that you're going to be learning on everything. Mustang Monday, Wednesday Wisdom, Fruitful Friday. I've got some hope for you. That's the theme all this month on the Apple-A-Day. So be sure to hop on over to Kelly Orchard's Apple-A-Day podcast on this same platform and check out my Apple-A-Days. They're just 60 seconds on wisdom, success, and personal growth. Same voice, it's me. And this month we're covering hope. That is the theme, so I hope you'll catch those over there. You know, it's like I Certified Badasses one podcast at a time, and today's Wednesday Wisdom is skills and drills for Certified Badasses. You know, the badass, the B in BADASS stands for be yourself. And so I kind of wanted to review just a little bit for you, where this started. So in January, I started the podcast, I launched it. I began with the B in BADASS. We began with the very, very, very beginning. So I'm just going to do a little recap and review for you, but I would love to encourage you to go back to January. You can just scroll down and keep scrolling and find episode 6 for Wednesday Wisdom and listen to that. Give it another listen. But to recap, do you learn from your trials and tribulations? That's what we went over. Or are you a victim of your circumstances? In order to get to the point where you're ready to share your gift and achieve that ultimate success that you long for, you need to go through a lot of trials, tribulations, and obstacles. I know, we don't really know why, or we really don't really want to, but how else are you going to learn? And that's the point here. You can play victim or you can choose to learn. So with the recent current events just keep piling up and piling up, I want you to consider this concept, all right? You know, I love to use music as a therapeutic tool. Well, in music, syncopation involves a variety of rhythms which are in some way unexpected, making part or all of the tune or piece of music seem kind of offbeat. More simply, syncopation is a disturbance or interruption of the regular flow of a rhythm, a placement of rhythm, where the stresses or the accents are different than where they would normally occur. I learned this and had to consider that my heart arrhythmia, what was going on when it was out of sync, was kind of like syncopation. It was causing my heart to write a new song, to dance to a new rhythm. I'm glad that I learned about syncopation in that process. And I do go more into the whole thing about syncopation and my heart issue in episode 6 of Wednesday Wisdom. But I wanted to remind you of that part because we have gone through so many different variations of crises. And I know that you have your version, and I say version, not like it's a story to tell, but I have mine, and what went on in my life during this last time. And if you allow yourself to reframe a crisis, in order to look at it differently, and then you can shift your emotions about it, what you're going to do is you're going to be able to have something different to look at. And maybe you'll come up with different solutions on how you want to handle it now. And here's another thing that you've got to remember and know, that people have a limited amount of brain energy. So it's really important for you to give up the things that aren't worth your time, your money, or that are making a positive impact on your life. Here's the thing. Americans are healthy at every stage of life, or actually Americans who are healthy at every stage of life. They do this by shifting from a focus on sickness and disease to a focus on wellness and prevention. And we can also look at that in your work environment and your home environment. As long as you focus on what's going wrong or the negativity, like sickness and disease, then it's going to continue to grow. But if you focus on wellness and prevention, things will improve. Prevention should be woven into all aspects of your daily lives at home and at work. 1 in 6 Americans suffers a major depressive episode in their lifetime. That's 15 million people a year. Now, we can talk about it all we want, but the thing is that depression causes brain disease. Brain scans reveal it. The longer one lets the depression grow or linger or go untreated, the worse it gets. So I really want to encourage you to let's work on your depression and your anxiety, and that's what I specialize in. And part of the Badass program is to learn how to be yourself and accept some of these things about yourself, and sometimes even just reframe these crises that go on. So as we're looking at skills and drills to improve your self-knowledge, here's one thing that I found. This is an article like I share with you all the time. It's like if I share articles with you, I will give you the link to the article in the show notes. You won't necessarily see it on the social media posts, but in the show notes for the podcast directly, I will have the links in the articles that I'm literally either quoting or paraphrasing. So this one from Fast Company is really, really, really good. It's the 3 soft skills to help you thrive while we're working in this hybrid workplace, okay? And basically, this is an article, like I said, in Fast Company. It's just recent from last week, in mindfulness at work, and that's the category that I like to follow myself. And so you can go ahead and follow those yourselves, or hey, you can just keep coming back to the podcast for successful badassery. I'm always going to be giving you some of this information. So as more and more workers are navigating the landscape to return to work, the hybrid format is providing some more of, basically it's proving to be more than a passing trend. The shift is because most of the long-term effects of the pandemic are largely unknown. So incorporating remote working into the business model is really prudent. It'll allow employers to pivot quickly should we go back into a lockdown in the future. Moreover, it's in line with what employees want. Now that workers have had a taste of such of a choice, like flexibility comes up repeatedly as one of the most important things for employees. And lastly, as people become more conscious of the social and environmental impact of what we do, companies have a responsibility to cut unnecessary travel. So, however, we have to be a realist, right? And admit that moving towards a new way of working means that employees need to develop a new skill set. Certain things are harder if we're not face to face. And this could be anything from mending fractious working relationships to creative brainstorming and reading the room, which are vital aspects of managing conflict and stopping it from escalating. It's not easy to do over a video conference. Hey, as a psychotherapist, I can completely relate. I've done plenty of these where you've tried to, and it's challenging. But it still can be accomplished if approached prudently, and we just need to find ways to improve how we communicate virtually. All right, so you can read this article, but one of them is these are the things that I teach. Emotional intelligence is one of the things if you have a team, either whether it's at home or it's your work environment, is teaching emotional intelligence. It's not necessarily something that you're born with. It's a skill that can be developed with consistent effort. Your EQ, which is your emotional intelligence, is one of those skills that can serve you well if you're not face to face with someone. When we speak virtually, we need to pay attention to our tone, explaining context, and develop awareness as to how we are coming across. There's a reason why texts and emails sometimes get misconstrued. It's because context and how we present something is often just as important as what we say. And the thing is that in this, it's like basically, the text or the email. Well, depending on the mood of the person who's receiving that is going to be how they understand it. So if they've had a conflict at home and they're angry with somebody and they read a text from you that's just short and abrupt, they might take it the wrong way. Or if you're like me and you tend to be very wordy and verbal, they may look at the long text and say, I don't have time to read this, and then forget to come back to it later. These things do happen. So developing our EQ is important to understand how our actions and behaviors might affect others. Another is leadership and social influence. So when you're a successful leader, you transcend official job titles. The journey of becoming a great leader is highly personal, during which you develop core strengths, manage weaknesses, and learn to influence others in a way that is unique to you. Hence me and my badassery. I swear, I've been in leadership since I was in high school, and I have finally I've come up with my own unique way of leading. So if you think about great leaders or those who you find inspiring, part of the reason you admire them might be because they genuinely seem to want to create positive change. So you can't learn leadership from a textbook or by gaining certain title or number of years experience. Leadership and the ability to influence others are a result of understanding people. That's part of the emotional intelligence component here. All right. And then taking initiative from the inside. In the future of work, as the pace of new technology becomes increasingly rapid, companies risk becoming irrelevant much more quickly than they have in the past. And we have to realize that the old ways of working and focusing on maintaining the status quo might not cut it anymore. Companies need teams of people that can think creatively and take the initiative to innovate within their role. Intrapreneurship within companies will become a skill that is in demand. Intrapreneurship is the system wherein the principles of entrepreneurship are practiced within the boundaries of a firm. I do this with my people, and I always have. An intrapreneur is a person who takes the responsibility to innovate new ideas, products, and processes, or any new invention within the organization. The skill can be practiced within any kind of function because it focuses on constantly questioning, testing processes, and asking how we can do things better and thinking of new ways that we can serve customer needs. All right, so that is a part of my I love this part, the 3 must-have soft skills for the hybrid workplace. You got to have some emotional intelligence. You've got to be practicing leadership and social influence with everyone. And that includes taking initiative from the inside, including learning skills and promoting intrapreneurship. If you need any help with that, I do have the tools for you. All right. So that is an article from Fast Company. Like I said, I'll put the link in the show notes. And it is the skills and drills to improve your self-knowledge in defining moments. Now I have a little story for you. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but this is part of the be yourself concept for this Wednesday wisdom. Because, the B in B.A.D.A.S.S stands for be yourself. So let's talk about your fears and re-engaging with the world again. And this is kind of a funny story about stepping out of your comfort zone. Now, I often encourage people to step out of your comfort zone. And comfort zone doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I'm all cozy in my house and I really don't want to go out. Although it does kind of now mean that. But, I've also said, comfort zone might be the stress and the depression and the anxiety. You're so accustomed to it, you think the world is always going to be that way. And that's not necessarily the case. It could just be that you're comfortable there because you've been there for so long. So I'm going to get her in my Mustang again, but you have not met her yet. She hasn't appeared in Mustang Monday yet. But I'm talking about one of the ladies that works here at Michelle's place. So I was fortunate enough the other day to be able to come out of my little cave office. My badass office is like a cave for me, and sometimes they don't know that I'm here. But I had a bit of a break, and the ladies were all eating lunch in the lunchroom. So I went in there and was able to enjoy just some chatting and some conversation. And I wanted to just share the story about the conversation that we were having because it just led to a story about trying to step out of your comfort zone when it really wasn't going to be your style. And I will share the story later because oh my gosh, it just made me laugh. So basically, a foodie who loves 5-star hotels, thought it might be a good idea to plan a glamping adventure. Okay, I'm listening. Okay, and the only reason I know that she's a foodie and likes these 5-star hotels is because she's in an upcoming Mustang Monday video, and that's one of the things that we talked about with her topic. Although with this topic, now that I'm talking about this story, it's like, why didn't you use your own advice? But more on that later. So anyway, so this foodie decides that she wants to do something different. She wants to step out of her comfort zone a little bit. But everybody who knew her knew that camping was not going to be a thing she liked. Because those of us who camp, we know what it's like. And if you know somebody who's a 5-star hotel foodie kind of person, you're like, yeah, I don't see how you're going to like that. But the thing is, so she didn't. And the story she tells is absolutely hilarious. And I asked her if I could use this as an example of, say, it's okay to step out of your comfort zone. See, what she did was she stepped out of her comfort zone. And I'm proud of her for that. And she tried this thing. But even as she kind of tried it out and she checked it out and she committed to it and she went and she showed up and she set up her camp and she did this and she did that, she did still have some concerns. So guess what? She's badass enough to know herself and know, yeah, this isn't for me. We're out of here. I'm not wasting any more time. Well, that was pretty badass also. Now, I will share with you the story later, but all in all, the question was broached up. So ask her how long this whole thing took. 25 minutes. She was at the campsite for 25 minutes before she packed up her car. Actually, she had the car already packed up 25 minutes later. And that, but the thing was that the lesson that she learned, it was about stepping out of her comfort zone. I love that. But she also discovered within those 25 minutes that this wasn't for her. So she didn't force it. She didn't make herself stay in an experience that she wasn't going to like or enjoy. She didn't need to experience that again. It takes bravery just to be yourself and admit that some things are just not for you. Okay? It is okay. That's part of being badass. So one of these days, I'm going to get her back in the Mustang, and I will have her tell this entire story. Because I got to tell you, I was so glad that I took a minute and I sat in there and I just enjoyed some conversation. It's part of that whole getting back out into the real world, right? Of getting out there again and stepping out of your comfort zone. I've been doing psychotherapy with one-on-one clients almost on phone and Zoom exclusively for almost a year. Coming back and having people to actually interact with it's foreign to me now with other people that aren't therapy clients. So I'm really glad that I was able to do that. And speaking of work and places that you love to be working at, I got another article for you. So this is from Smart Brief. It's basically called How to Leverage Passion or Pay and How to Stem the Talent Exodus. Because you know what? It is going to have it. It is going to happen. People are going to start to leave their job. This is the article. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. I promise you. So the article goes like this. I'm giving them my 2 weeks notice, John told me. I've been in a job that has been sapping me of my joy for the last 5 years, and I'm not doing it anymore. John is among the millions of Americans making the decision to leave a current job without a new one lined up. In April, 4 million workers resigned their roles, and many in search of better paying and working conditions. But not all of the exodus is going to be due to the newly booming job market offering more opportunities. Much more of that, the labor fight has spawned by employees having lived through the global pandemic in which we are all brought face to face with our own mortality. For some workers, this evoked questions about all aspects of their lives and the qualities that they were searching for in their daily experience. These questions included, am I in a job that pays sufficiently? Is there an outlet for my passions at work? Is the work culture nurturing or one that challenges my mental well-being? Are my needs for autonomy and work-life balance respected? Do I have enough time to pursue my external interests and hobbies? Do I have an extended network of support around me to call upon in times of needs? As these questions are examined, they offer insight to leaders about the environment they might create to retain top talent and attract new employees who will stay. Pay will not be sufficient lever for recruitment or retention because workers are demanding to be seen for the whole of who they are. You can't free lunch perk your way out of the talent exodus because it's driven by fundamental needs for meaning, belonging, and purpose. I got to be honest with you, I've been sharing this with my broadcast colleagues for years, that unless they feel that there's a bigger sense of purpose and that they have a sense of belonging and some sort of meaning to this job in radio, they're gonna leave. And sure enough, there is a huge exodus happening in my beloved broadcast industry. The largest generation in the workforce, the millennials, are willing to accept nothing less than a work and life experience that aligns with a more balanced, purpose-filled existence. And that's not a bad thing. This is what I find the most important out of this this article, and I'll share it with you. You can read the rest. But understand that the behavior as well as the process. Okay, so managers have long been taught to pursue objectives and align workers to achieve results. Employee development and personal growth goals have received attention, but consistent focus has largely taken a back seat to delivering profits. In today's talent economy, successful managers will be those who take time to understand the deeper drivers of individual behavior expressed as the purpose and passion of their people, so they can apply that knowledge to helping employees be successful. The more aligned an individual's work role is with their passions, the more likely they are to be successful and retained. I'm going to let you catch this article later, but some of the other highlights are, to appreciate the economics of fulfillment, being fulfilled in your job. You don't need to make a lot of money if you feel good about what you're doing, and it's like you've got to embrace the hybrid. We talked about that just a minute ago. If people want to work from home and they can be productive and you're giving them the right tools, why not? All right. Never sacrifice a positive culture. Basically, organizations that thrive through this great resignation will be headed by leaders who understand the power and importance of culture to success of business. So if you want more about this, I got the link in the show notes for you. But, it's like, so skills and drills. Okay. Decide how you wish to grow. I want to tell you a little bit about the License to Be Badass program before we head out of here. Let me be the guide guides you out of the dark. That is my strategy. That's my vision. I've been in the dark tunnel before when I lost my health, my work, my finances, and my house all at the same time. I was alone and still raising teenagers. I fought my way back and it wasn't easy to begin. But staying the course, despite obstacles and setbacks, is what made all the difference. Now, how can I help you? When you say, I'm not sure, I don't know, well, let me ask you this. What have you lost? How will you recover? How are you going to survive? What are you supposed to do now? Are you angry, afraid, helpless, negative, spiraling? You need a success mindset right now. Take charge of your mental health. Therapists and counselors are definitely in short supply. I've got a badass plan and a badass program for you. It's basically independent access, home access, self-paced, no obligation or pressure. It's not therapy, but it is very therapeutic. Your mental health should be your top priority today and that of your team. After the year we've had, aren't you ready? And I've got the toolkit just for you. Now, there's more information on my website. And you can get more information from me later. I talk about this all the time. Remember the B.A.D.A.S.S is an acronym, and the License to Be Badass program provides you with videos and worksheets that can take you through each and every course. Now, obviously on Wednesday Wisdom, I do something about music, don't I? So I got to tell you, it's like, I'm going to take suggestions from you. I'm planning, actually it's already planned. I bookend, I think I told you this a few weeks ago, I bookend my summer. So and July 4th weekend, I was in Georgetown, Texas, visiting my daughter and my son-in-law and my 2 grandbabies. And coming up in October, which is after my birthday, I have another trip planned to Sedona. So my Sedona people, now I'm calling this the Sedona crew. This is the first time I've gone to Sedona with others besides just my daughter and meeting them there. So this is the first time I'm in this will be the 4th time I've gone in this year, and the first time I'm actually driving out there with people. And so I told them I'm going to make a playlist I'll be in charge of all the music for this whole weekend. And they know my program. In fact, 2 of them are certified badasses, and they're all right, that's your job. And I said, but like I do with everything, I want you to contribute. So I asked them to contribute because this isn't all about me and my favorite music. I want to hear theirs. So I am right now working on a Sedona Crew playlist for the next trip, which is the retreat. And it's the 4th time for me, and it's a first for my friends. So we are planning some special things. So music will be essential for us as we create these memories that will be shared. It's a moment in time when one song might represent this entire occasion for all of us. I want to encourage you this weekend. It's not a holiday weekend. I'm sorry. It's just the beginning of August, and it's only Wednesday. What am I saying? I guess I'm already there in Sedona. That's where I'm at. But I want to encourage you on this Wednesday to start considering the memories that you're making. I know I usually go back with you on find a song that represents this, or I've been saying songs about love, or I'll give you a song. But today I want to encourage you to consider the things that you're working on right now that are meaningful. Find some music and play that music while you work on those things that are meaningful. Eventually, one of the songs is going to basically embed itself in your brain and in your heart and in your memory and make you feel good. And it's always going to, every time you hear that song, you're going to go back to this memory of what you're doing. And that is my Wednesday wisdom for you. I am Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier. And here's my friend Bobby Ocean to tell you to get your Badass Habits ebook, and I'll send you a sticker. That's right.
Grab your Badass Habits ebook. Get started on your badass journey. Go to licensed2bebadass.com. Friday again, we turn up the energy. Tune in and tune up. Be bold, be brave, be confident, be badass.